The story will be told from the perspective of the main female character.
I never thought my sister would slap me so hard that the entire Chicago airport seemed to freeze. One moment I was double-checking our boarding time on my phone, and the next, her hand hit my face with enough force to make everyone around stop and stare. Phones went up. People were watching. Before I could even react, my parents rushed over, not to help, but to scold me. They didn't know I had covered the cost for the whole Miami trip, or that in a few minutes, I would make a choice that would leave them speechless and stranded. My name is Emma Carter. Most of my life, people called me the responsible one, the dependable daughter, the calm older sister, the person who never complained, never caused problems. It's funny how a reputation can trap you, turning into a role you never agreed to, yet everyone expects you to play it forever. Growing up in our home in Chicago, my sister Olivia was the spark, loud, emotional, dramatic in a way my parents always found charming. I was the quiet one, the fixer. When she cried, I comforted her. When she messed up, I covered for her. When my parents needed something done, they always came to me. I told myself it was love, family, responsibility. But after 26 years of being the steady daughter, the toll began to show. I work in marketing analytics for a tech company, a job where I spend more time with spreadsheets than people. It pays well enough that when the idea for Miami came up, paying for the whole trip didn't feel like a burden. It felt normal, expected even. I told myself it was a gift, a treat for my parents, who hadn't traveled in years, and a break for Olivia, who constantly switched jobs and shared motivational posts online. 5 weeks ago at dinner, Olivia stood up with a glass of champagne and announced she was taking care of everyone's Miami trip. My parents' faces lit up. My mom covered her mouth, stunned. My dad bragged immediately, telling her how proud he was. Olivia glanced at me, smiled, and mouthed, "Thanks," like a private joke. I laughed because that's what I did. But behind the smiles, I kept organizing the hotel, the car, the excursions, the flights, premium seats, making adjustments for my father's back pain and Olivia's space needs. I convinced myself it didn't matter if no one knew. Family doesn't need credit. Still inside, I felt a tightening each time Olivia took praise for things she didn't do. Each time my parents dismissed my contributions. Each time she teased me for being uptight while I carried the adult responsibilities. That morning, standing in the terminal with coffee in hand and boarding pass ready, I thought maybe this trip would be different. Maybe Miami would soften everything. Maybe the family would finally enjoy something together. I was wrong. The moment Olivia's hand hit my cheek, the sound cracked through the terminal like a dropped tray. For a heartbeat, everything inside me went still, even the part that always tried to understand her. My cheek throbbed, but what hurt more was seeing my parents rush over with that familiar mix of panic and irritation aimed straight at me. "What did you do to her?" my father demanded before even looking at my face. I opened my mouth, but Olivia beat me to it. She buried her face in my mother's shoulder, trembling on cue. "She's been ruining everything. I can't take it anymore." The lie slid out effortlessly. I barely even registered it, but what shocked me was how quickly my parents believed her again. My mother stroked her hair while glaring at me. "Why can't you just let her enjoy herself?" There it was, the old script we'd been running since childhood. Standing there in Terminal B, surrounded by strangers recording the scene, all the past humiliations came rushing back. The graduation party. Olivia had barely passed high school and wanted a big celebration. My parents didn't have the money, so I quietly paid for the cake, decorations, and backyard tent, $2,200. She made a speech thanking them for everything, and everyone applauded. My parents cried. I stood by the grill, holding a tray, smiling like it didn't matter. 2 years later, she moved into a cute downtown apartment because I co-signed the lease. She twirled her keys in an empty living room, bragging on social media about finally being independent. She never mentioned that it was my credit that made it possible. The engagement. 4 months with a guy who adored her drama until he didn't. She called me crying about a ring she couldn't afford. I lent her $5,200. She bought it, posted it online, and when the relationship ended, she never paid me back or acknowledged it. And the gifts, Every holiday, every birthday, I bought presents for both of us because she claimed she was broke, overwhelmed, or busy. My mother always thought Olivia was better at picking gifts, never realizing I had done it all. Then the memory of the dinner 5 weeks ago hit me. Olivia had raised her glass and announced she was treating us all to Miami. My mother gasped. My father told her how amazing she was. Olivia soaked it in like sunlight. Then she looked at me, smirked, and mouthed, "Thanks." I felt warmth rising in my chest, but not pride. It was tighter, heavier. It felt like resentment, though I hated to admit it. Now, in the middle of the busy airport, it was happening all over again. Olivia played the victim. My parents defended her, and I was the villain by default. "Apologize," my father said, stepping between us. "Do it properly." My cheek throbbed. I always swallowed. "I didn't do anything," I whispered. "Emma," his voice dropped into that low, disappointed tone he'd used my whole life. "You made your sister cry. Fix it." I looked at Olivia, mascara perfectly streaked like she'd practiced, and something inside me shifted. Not anger, not yet, but something quieter, colder. A realization. Nothing I had done in 26 years had ever balanced the scale. Not the trips, not the money, not the favors, not the silence. And in that moment, standing among 200 strangers, I understood one thing with absolute clarity. If I kept playing the role they wrote for me, I would lose myself completely. For a moment, after my father told me to fix it, I just stood there, feeling the heat from Olivia's slap. My cheek burned, but it wasn't just from the hit. It was from the humiliation, the weight of being blamed yet again. I turned slowly, not storming off, not dramatic, just steady, trying to collect myself. My hands trembled as I pressed one to my face. I found a quiet corner near the vending machines, leaned against the cold tile, and closed my eyes. Clarity began to cut through the fog. I remembered Olivia's smug look at the dinner table when she took credit for Miami. I remembered my mother's proud tears and my father telling friends she had finally got her life together. I remembered all the years I had silently held everything together while being treated like an afterthought. And then I remembered the truth. I was the one who paid for everything. Every flight, every hotel room, every rental car, every activity, every cost came from my account. My eyes opened, the trembling in my hands stopped. I pulled out my phone and checked my email. The confirmation for the flights was there, all under my name and my card. The hotel, the rental car, the excursions, everything, all mine. An idea, quiet and simple, slid into my mind. A boundary, not revenge, just a line I should have drawn years ago. I opened the airline app, entered the reservation code, and prepared to act. My heart was still pounding, but the rhythm had changed. It wasn't panic anymore. It was control. I called the airline. A calm voice answered, asking how they could help. I explained that I needed to make a change to the reservation. No yelling, no dramatics, just a choice. A choice to stop paying for people who refused to acknowledge me. As the agent pulled up the tickets, I glanced toward the distant gate. My family was sitting together, relaxed, laughing lightly, unaware that I was making a decision that would shift the balance for the first time. Olivia scrolled on her phone, my mother digging through her purse, my father reading the news on his tablet. They seemed at peace, completely missing what was about to happen. The agent placed me on a brief hold. Soft instrumental music played through my earbuds. I stood against the cold tile, feeling my heartbeat settle into something steady and purposeful. For the first time, I wasn't the girl who had been slapped and blamed. I was someone reclaiming control, someone who had finally recognized her own worth. When the agent returned, they confirmed they had the reservation. 4 passengers to Miami. I said firmly, "Cancel 3 of the tickets. Keep only the one under my name." There was a pause. Then, "Understood. There will be cancellation fees, but the travel credit will go back to your account since the payment originated from you." "Perfect," I said. A few clicks later, 3 names were gone. 3 people who had treated my silence as permission no longer had access to the trip. I wasn't angry. I was done. Next, I handled the hotel. 2 adjoining ocean view rooms, 4 guests, my credit card. I called to modify it to 1 room, 1 guest. The agent adjusted the reservation, offered a refund for the difference, and wished me a pleasant stay. Then came the rental car. I downgraded from the large SUV to a compact, a solo trip car, something I didn't need to explain to anyone. Every call, every adjustment left me feeling lighter. Each refund returned a piece of myself that I'd been giving away for years. By the time I finished, I no longer felt like the girl who had been slapped in the airport. I felt like someone I hadn't seen in years, the adult in control of her own life. I slipped my phone back into my bag and walked slowly toward Gate 22. The airport felt different now, not hostile, not overwhelming, just neutral. The world didn't feel tilted against me anymore. My family hadn't noticed I had stepped away. Olivia was laughing at something on her phone, my mother digging through her purse, my father absorbed in the news. They looked peaceful, unaware of the change about to hit them. When I walked back toward the seating area, my family still hadn't noticed me. Olivia was focused on her phone, my mother searching through her purse, and my father reading the news on his tablet. They seemed calm, as if nothing had happened earlier. I stepped into their line of sight and said, "I'm going to my gate now." My mother looked up, confused. "What? This is your gate?" "Not anymore," I replied. Olivia squinted. "What do you mean, stop overreacting?" I held up my phone, showing the screen to them. "I canceled your tickets, all 3 of them." The terminal went quiet. My father stood, shocked. "You did what?" Olivia grabbed the phone, staring at the confirmation like she couldn't believe it. No, this isn't right. I booked this trip." "I did," I said quietly. "Everything, every part was under my account." My mother stood, voice shaking. "This isn't funny, you can't do this." "Check with the airline if you don't believe me," I said. My father pulled out his phone and entered the confirmation code. Olivia hovered next to him, muttering, "She's lying. She's lying." The airline confirmed only one remaining passenger, me. Olivia's expression dropped. My father lowered his phone slowly. "How could you do this?" I looked at them directly. "How many times have you believed her lies and blamed me? How many times did you praise her for things I actually paid for? How many times did you ask me to stay quiet to keep the peace?" "No," my mother said, stepping closer. "Yes, you did," I replied. "You sided with her without checking what actually happened." Olivia's voice cracked. "Please, I didn't mean to." "Yes, you did," I said calmly. I showed them the hotel refund, the rental car change, and the tour cancellations. Every piece of the trip disappearing, one confirmation at a time. My father's face turned red. "You think this makes you the hero?" "No," I said. "It makes me free." My mother reached for my arm, tears in her eyes. "We can fix this. Please don't leave us. We don't have the money for new tickets." "I know," I said. "That's why I paid for everything to begin with." Olivia grabbed my wrist, voice shaking. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have hit you. I was stressed. I wasn't thinking." I gently pulled back. "You're 24. When do you start thinking?" There was no anger in my voice, only truth she had avoided for years. The boarding announcement sounded. My group was called. My father stepped in front of me. "If you go through that gate, don't expect to come back." I looked at him directly and didn't flinch. "I'm not the one who left. That was a long time ago." I stepped past him. No one stopped me. The gate agent scanned my ticket, gave me a sympathetic glance, and said quietly, "Rough day." "Getting better," I replied. Walking down the jet bridge, I felt the weight lift with every step. When I reached my seat, premium window, extra legroom, the sunlight came through in stripes across the cabin. As the plane pushed back, I looked out the window one last time. Through the glass, I could see my family. Olivia packing, my mother covering her face, my father arguing with a gate agent. They looked lost, like they had no idea what to do next. Miami felt different the moment I arrived. I stepped onto the balcony of my room. The ocean stretched wide and calm. I let the breeze hit my face. The same cheek Olivia had slapped hours before, and it didn't sting. I spent the next days snorkeling, hiking, and eating alone without apologizing. My phone buzzed constantly with calls and messages, but I silenced them all. On the flight home, I finally opened the letter my parents had sent. They admitted the favoritism, the mistakes, the years they took me for granted. They apologized. I folded the letter and put it away. I wasn't ready to reply, but this time the choice was mine. I learned that peace doesn't come from staying quiet. It comes from choosing yourself. My family may or may not change, but I no longer carry the burden of their decisions. Setting a boundary wasn't cruel. It was survival.